Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast, where we bring the boom. We bring the boom to you. Where we get the stuff we didn't get to during the course of the show today. I got sidetracked by some TikTok. I was in the zone doing some work, and then Gavin sent me a TikTok, and then that started me down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, he really did just set you off.
I came across that father and son, that AJ and Big Justice on TikTok, and they sing the song. Boom. Bring the boom. You know, I was like, oh man. And I saw them on, I think it was Fallon or somebody like that, and it seemed like he was annoyed by them more than anything because they brought all this attitude and stuff, and it was like, oh, okay.
Let me ask you a question,
Sure.
and this is for both of you. Have you ever watched through a TikTok video that was really long, and then you got to the end of it, and you were like, why did I even sit there and watch that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I also do find that my time on it is like I get less tolerant of people wasting my time, and so. Even like the religious stuff that I like on there, like Kelly Kay is this guy. He's a pastor. I like him. Josh Howerton, I like his stuff, and some other people. I just found out that Josh Howerton was like at a church like right around the corner from our house, and then he left. And I was like, oh, because I actually like the stuff I saw online from him. But like Kelly sometimes will do these 5 to 7 minute things.
Too long.
Yeah, and it's like on TikTok especially, it's like he makes this really good point, and it's like that could be a minute and a half of just solid good. But like my wife got me his daily devotional, and so I like that because it's like super fast.
Do you have it yet?
I do. Yeah, I do. I started going through it, and I like. There's a thing on it I want to pull for a topic too, from yesterday or from today. But like it's really fast. And so like if you're just kind of, you have like attention span issues, or you don't want something that's like this deep dissertation, but it's like, oh, just a good nugget. So far it's been good for me. So I like that. But anyway, back to the AJ and the dad, Big Justice bringing the boom. Those are the ones that you're like, they explode quickly, and then they invest all this stuff and time in it, and then it just goes away. That's the problem with the internet. Like, you think you're going to be an internet sensation, and for 99.9% of people, you have that hit, and then you're out, you know, because I do believe it's actually hard to be an influencer more than I used to think. I used to think it's kind of a cop-out job. The ones that are good at it and the ones that make money doing content, like they're working on stuff every day, and you're only as good as your last video performed. And then when it stops, there is no remorse. You are just 1,000,000,000% gone, canceled, out of here, forgotten. And so, like people like this, I think, are a flash in the pan. And so,
I don't know if you keep watching them.
I know.
We're giving them what they want.
I know.
By watching all of their, I've heard boom so many times today.
Have you really? Yeah, from me.
Yeah.
And you looked it up.
I
too.
do like it. Actually.
Yeah. Do you really?
Not really, but I understand when you hit hard, like when you hit something that works really well, and you kind of are known as that person.
Sure.
Like it is probably aids their income.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Why not live into that stereotype?
But you said you saw a thing of a guy who was like, I'm on TikTok, and people think I make a lot of money, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know maybe down the line. I mean, ultimately, I hope it doesn't go away. I'd rather TikTok stick around. But if it goes away, and then we find out what money people actually made through TikTok.
That'll be my first question in heaven. How much do these people make on TikTok?
Because one guy did say, and I watch his content, he makes it creatively, it's well done, it's scripted, he's funny, and then he posted this long video about how he doesn't really make money off of TikTok, maybe a few $100s a month, and says that stereotype of people think, oh, TikTok making millions, your life is so easy. And he's like, no, I don't really make that much money. And then I know people that I've watched who say, oh, yeah, I quit. Or he's like, I got fired from my job, so I'm just going to dive right into this, and it's going well. It's providing for my family. Like, that doesn't.
Good for you if it does.
I wonder, like, what really makes money on that app.
Yeah, like it's. I think it's hard to make life-changing money in the digital space, regardless. Like you say, you're like, okay, I know a lot about botany, and I'm going to start a podcast on botany, and people are going to love it, and I'm going to make money, and this is what I'm going to do. Good luck. Like, because 1% of podcasts make it, like even less than that. And so it's amazing this is still alive, honestly. But like but the thing is, I don't make any money off of it. None of us do. Like Betty, Gavin, me, none of us make a dime off of the podcast. And so we just do it because we like doing it. And so if you do it from that perspective, it's great. If we were doing this as a business, we would have gone belly up a long time ago. And trust me, we wouldn't be doing it.
And it's hard too because it's a space that you either have to be like really liked by the people who listen to you, or your content has to be truly special. That's like whenever Serial came
Serial
out,
was so
it
good.
felt like it was the first like true crime podcast, and you're like, okay, this is a breath of fresh air. And now we fast forward. She did, I think, 2 or 3 more seasons of other Serial content.
Yeah, it
And by
wasn't
the
as
end,
good though.
I was like, man, the content wasn't quite as good, but you're like, I've listened to this before.
Because
now.
everybody's doing that now. Like all of they started the formula. Like if you look at reality TV where they do the confessionals to the camera and stuff like that, and they talk back and forth, and then they cut back and forth between the action. That was started on The Real World on MTV, that style. And then all of a sudden that became what reality TV shows are. I'm watching a new reality TV show now called Deal or No Deal Island.
I saw that. I've seen trailers for that.
There's the first season, like they really drag stuff out on the case thing. They're doing better at making it faster now. It's interesting because it's Survivor meets Deal or No Deal.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, it's
How original.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. I don't hate it. The host I can't stand. It's Sofia Vergara's old husband. Joe Maglione. He's such a cheeseball on this thing, and it's like, eh. But like the first season I watched, they had Boston Rob from Survivor on it, and he was great. He's a great agent of chaos. Then this year they have Parvati, who was another great Survivor player. So they even tapped into the Survivor players for the show, and stuff. But it's good. I like it. But I find myself not listening to a bunch of podcasts. Like Betty Rock will keep telling us about different podcasts, but she loves podcasts with no conclusion. Like, and she's fine.
So silly.
Like, they can tell a story. They can take an hour of your life. They walk you right up to the precipice, and here it is. We're gonna push this thing down the hill, and now you're gonna find out what happened. And then it's like, and we will never know. And Betty's fine with that.
Mystery.
I can't do that. I need conclusion on my podcast. Like, I need that story. Like when Keith Morrison at least usually has an out, and then they caught the guy. You like the stuff where they're like, and then they'll never know they got away. I can't take that. How do you do that?
I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with me.
Well, maybe, yeah. Oh, because that
times.
Radio Rental was one that you told me about. That
Yeah.
like it had like these creepy premises. Like, oh, this is interesting, and then it's like, and then nothing happened.
Yeah, that one about
they don't say nothing happened. They just say, like,
We
and
can't
that's
explain it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know. What
Sometimes they
was.
stop mid-sentence. It just seems like it stops.
Was it Radio Rental that had the story about the guy who kept getting texts from someone?
Yes.
And then they kept getting closer and closer. Like, oh, this person's he's coming toward.
Yeah.
And then we just don't know.
Yeah, so this guy.
That's when I'm like,
This guy got a random text from someone. I believe it was a random text. But then he kept up this relationship with this person through only texting. And then this person was like, I'm going to come and visit you. And he's just playing along. He's
crazy.
just like, yeah, sure, whatever. But they keep sending him photos that this person is taking from their phone.
Yeah.
And it's showing each state line that they cross. And they're getting closer and closer to his place. And then it just ends.
Yeah,
Like,
and then it just ends.
he's
That's
like,
exactly
well,
it.
I never saw him. I don't really know what happened. I blocked his number, and that's it.
It's like a nothing story then.
No,
Like,
to me,
when
that's
nothing
still,
happens,
No,
it's
to
a
me,
nothing.
that's still like, whoa, what was that?
Well, you just delete text from strangers.
Yeah.
Kids.
Well, I mean, that's like UFOs and things like that, where there is no conclusive anything to it. I'm like, whatever. I don't care one iota about it. Now, the first time they find a UFO ship, then I'm like, okay,
That would be awesome.
now you
Area
got something. 51.
Who knows?
I would love to be a fly on the wall in Area 51. There's like, again, I'm only slightly stitious. I'm not superstitious, but no, I'm like slightly conspiracy minded, and I do believe we talked about this. I think just the other day. I do believe there's things that happen in the government that we could not handle knowing are really happening that help
Probably.
keep our national security, help keep our stupid country from panicking and destroying ourselves. I mean, you look at COVID and what they what they felt they could tell you and what they couldn't tell you. And before you know it, they tell you a little bit. I mean, the tiniest information, and we have no toilet paper. Like, we cannot handle big things like aliens. We would lose our ever-loving minds.
I had flashbacks this last weekend whenever we dealt with the snow. We did grocery shopping. I'm like, I really want to get eggs for a couple days. There was no store with eggs.
I ran into that too the other day. We walked by and I'm like,
you don't even like eggs.
I know,
No,
but my
obviously.
wife, we needed them for like, we
Cookies.
bake. Yeah,
Oh.
like they're crucial for cookies.
But like that just felt weird too, because that harkens just back to that era where you're like, oh, panic, panic, panic.
I
just
still
don't know
loved
why
it.
that was the one thing. I can never understand why there's that one thing that people go for.
Yeah, I would love to live in a post-apocalyptic world and just try to survive and see how to do it. The problem is I'd have to be alone because like even when I travel, like even when I go to Africa, I spend too much time worrying about like if my wife's on that trip with me or if Betty's on the trip or whoever. Like there's people in my life that I worry about and I can't focus. But like if I was just solely alone, then I could focus on like trying to survive, and I think I could do it.
Sorry to wear you down.
Yeah, no. It's I take on people's burden myself. Like I worry about people. You know, I worry about my daughter. You know, things like that. But yeah, I like COVID days. I liked going around. I liked being alone places that we went. You know, there's things I loved about it. We went on a COVID cruise after COVID. They should have called it the COVID cruise, but it's like right towards the end where you could cruise again, and the ship was 1/3 full.
It's wild.
There were things that felt like a ghost town, and it was so great, man. We're so overpopulated.
Life was so simple then.
It really was.
You went to work and then you went home.
Yeah.
Maybe you went somewhere like you had to learn how to entertain yourself at
Yeah,
home.
you had to be creative.
People were giving each other haircuts at home.
Yeah.
Like it was so.
I don't
Again,
like what it did for our economy.
Yes, terrible time.
Yeah.
And we are recovering from it still.
Yeah.
I may never own a home because of COVID.
Right, yeah, it messed up with a lot of things.
But-
and then, like, cars for 2 years later were hard to get cars,
Yep.
and they were expensive because of prices, because of chips that we couldn't get from China and stuff like that. But the overall time, if I look back on it, I'm trying to remember, like, honestly. It's kind of like when someone dies, and you're like, oh, he was such a good guy. You're like, what? That guy was a monster. But you just kind of remember the good. And I'm trying to remember, like, COVID, like, I know there had to be days where I was like, I'm going bonkers. But like Gavin and I still came to work. And so at least we had that outlet. Like I know some people that just stayed in the house the whole time.
I would go crazy.
That I would have lost my mind. So we went mountain biking and stuff still. You know, they're like, oh, you can't go out and like social distancing when you mountain bike. No, I'm going mountain biking.
That's why I'm out here.
Exactly. It was nuts. But anywho.
I liked it.
Yeah, not a bad thing. Lady Rock, what do you got?
Well,
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
I've not been looking forward
It's
to
funny.
this.
Yada dada. You'd always get me for the yada dadas. I was going to talk about the Hamas ceasefire, and I'm like, oh, but this would have been the day to actually do that and then go into this story because it wasn't going from. I mean, I guess this is a good thing. They have a ceasefire between. Yeah, we'll do it anyway. It's quick. They have a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, which I mean is a great thing. Ultimately, but it's like, will people stick to it? That's the big thing. But they're doing it like in 3 phases, 42 days each phase. And so, like the first one, it's this is a weird disparity though. Like the first one, they have to give back. What is it? Like 42 hostages or something. Like it's something, and they're getting hundreds of Palestinian prisoners released. Like Israel was lopsided in this deal for what they're getting and what they're giving. It just again goes to show Israel is like, we're trying for peace, you know. And so will Hamas stay with this? I have no idea. Phase 2, it's like if everyone's behaving themselves, then there's more hostage exchanges and they start to open up the borders again and get help in there. And then phase 3 is actually rebuilding Gaza. And so
Wow.
there's still a lot of gray area in it, but it'll be, I mean, at least if it stops for a little while, but I have this sneaky feeling that it's not going to be a permanent thing. I think we are always going to have problems in the Middle East. It's just the way it is, and that's biblical. I mean, that's the way that it's going to probably end, unfortunately. But some good news for now anyway. All right, so now that's good in the sad, but now we get to Betty Rock, the prophetess of doom.
So I found an article. This was Josh Gad. He did the voice of Olaf in Frozen franchise. anyways, he talks about how there was a different scene written for Olaf when he melts away.
Did you go back and watch the end of it just to be okay? Because I've totally forgotten the end of it.
Yeah. So they're in a cave or something. I don't know. We've talked about this before. Wally and I got super lost with the plot line of Frozen 2.
It still makes no sense.
But anyways, at one point, Olaf, he starts flaking, like flurrying. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, there was a scene where they were going to have him starting to flurry, and in essence, he's dying. And because the magic is fading away or whatever.
Like everybody's got to die in kids shows with Disney. No mom, no dad.
I'm going to get to that.
Snowman.
I'm going to get to that. So Olaf, there is a scene where he starts flaking, he starts flurrying, and they run it by the kids, and the kids watch this scene, and they are messed up because Olaf is seeing himself flurry, and he's like, "What's going on? What's happening to me?" Like,
so he's scared.
He's panicking, and he's scared. And I think they saw where a lot of kids saw themselves in Olaf, and so they realized, "Ooh, we need to change that scene." And so instead, as he's starting to flurry, Olaf knows what's going on, and in essence, he starts comforting Anna.
I just thought of one thing that's permanent.
What's that?
Love.
Warm hugs?
Oh, yes.
I like warm hugs.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah,
but they're doing this because it got me thinking about, like, they are trying to help or bubble wrap this tiny generation. And I'm like, what about the generations before them? Like my generation,
just had to watch
we're messed up when it comes to Disney movies because Disney didn't care. They were out for blood. It was bad. You take, for instance, Old Yeller. When Old Yeller is a pitiful little dog that got bit and then gets rabies, and his owner, which is like a 15-year-old boy,
a kid,
is told by his mom, well, you got to go out there and shoot him.
I'll pin him up where he can't get out, and then we'll wait.
All right, son. If you think there's a chance.
But there was no chance.
There was no chance.
You would never make a 15-year-old kid do that nowadays.
There's no way. Like I would definitely
terrible.
like kill my dog for my daughter.
And why are we making that a movie?
I know.
That's so crazy.
That movie wrecked me in fourth
Anyway,
grade.
another one, Bambi, when his mom gets shot by the hunter.
We made it, Mother.
Oh, where is she?
Mother.
And then we see the mom.
Oh.
Like, right?
So
No,
sad.
they don't show the mom.
They never
but
show
you
the
hear,
mom.
You hear the shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's like, Bambi, run.
Now it's psychological warfare too.
Okay, another one is Dumbo. When Dumbo's mom, so Dumbo's getting made fun of and bullied for his big ears, and then his mom tries to trample the bullies, but then she gets chained up. And so Dumbo goes to visit his mom in the middle of the night, and this song is playing.
From your head down to your toes.
Oh yeah.
She's rocking him with her trunk, and he's looking up at his mom.
I never
and he's
finished
on his
this.
own.
I did not like that movie.
It's so sad. Okay, well, stick around. Lion King, when Mufasa gets trampled by the wildebeest.
Dad, come on.
Dad!
You gotta get up.
You gotta do.
Dad.
Why does everyone have to die in
Yeah.
Disney
And that one's
films,
tough 'cause
man?
You see
Okay.
him with his dad. Like,
Right?
you see him next to his father.
And he had died to protect Simba.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, then we got Fox and the Hound when the fox. Okay, first off, at the beginning of the movie, Todd the fox, his mom dies. She also gets shot by a hunter, okay?
What in the world?
And then a little old lady adopts Todd, but then she realizes her and Todd isn't a pet, and she needs to release him out in the wild, though she has this stupid idea to release him right as a storm is coming, so I have a bone to pick with her. But this is what's going on as she drops him off.
I remember how we used to play. I recall those rainy days.
Oh, God.
That's
Goodbye, you're on
that's
your
her
own.
crime movie.
It's terrible.
I've never watched that with Haley. Never will.
Toy Story messed you
Yes.
up when Jessie gets left in a box to be donated.
When somebody loved me.
That was
I
a
can't.
sad one.
Everything was
I can't.
You gotta admit though, they are really good at taking you to the lowest of the low to bring you back up to the highest of the high. Because without the low, you don't know what the high is.
I
And
don't
they
wanna hear
figured
it.
that out, but it's true.
I don't want to hear it. Another one, Lilo and Stitch, when Stitch has to say goodbye to his little family.
This is my family. It's little and broken, but still good. Yeah, still good.
Yeah, I never really cared much for Stitch.
Oh, I love Stitch. He's my favorite.
I'm like, that's Spencer, Haley's fiance. That's his favorite too. And I never connected with that
I love
movie,
him.
that character.
Inside Out, Bing Bong, when he says goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Sad.
Go save Riley. Take her to the moon for me. Okay?
Bing bong.
And then finally, the movie, the opening scene of Up.
Kills me.
When you see this sweet little couple and they grow old together, but then she gets sick.
Yeah.
And you see that she passes away and now he's on his own.
The first time she stumbles and he picks her up, you're like, oh no, now I know where we're
music
going.
is playing in the
Yeah,
background.
I didn't know
I'm
where we
like,
were going.
"Come on."
And then when she stumbles, I'm like, you sons of guns. Like, I cannot believe you're going to kill her off in 10 minutes of this movie. What is wrong with you?
But yeah, let's fix Olaf because the kids can't stand to see him melt.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
We lived through a lot, okay?
Yeah.
We millennials, we have a walking testimony.
Yeah, you millennials are tough, that's for sure.
Anyways, that's all I had to
Oh, so good. So much sadness today. I love it. I love it.
The
Do you have
good
any
news is we
sad
don't
birthdays?
have any birthdays.
Oh, good. Well, that's a good thing then anyway. All right. Well, I think that's going to have to do it for your Aftercast for today. And as always, thanks for being a potty.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.